All right, well, welcome. Hold on, got somebody else coming in. Welcome, everybody, and for the this last minute arts and education information session. I know many of you are familiar with the program because you've participated in it for a number of years. But for those of you who don't know, we have a new contact at the school system, Andrew Kraft, who's joining us today. So I thought it was a good chance to meet everybody, for everybody to meet Andrew if you've not met him already or talked to him. In terms of your programming that's going on. And we're just going to go over the application and then have some Q&A. All right. So Andrew, do you want to come off of mute and just introduce yourself to everyone and tell them who you are?
Yeah, good afternoon. I guess it is officially afternoon now. My name is Andrew Kraft. I'm the new Director of Arts Education. I was previously just a music supervisor in the school system, and then before that, a band director. But it's great to see you all today, and hopefully if you have any questions, I'll be able to help you out.
Yeah. And just for those of you, just to let you in, so Brad Oliver is still at the district, and he's now moved on to another, I guess, bigger role. So he's still there and he's still a friend, and helping us out navigate things. So at this point, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go over the application. Feel free to text questions. Also happy to talk with folks one-on-one if you have specific questions. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so you're at the Wells Fargo Arts and Education Grant Information Session. We're still waiting for our fiscal year to end. We're hoping to have a pool somewhere between 80 and 100,000 for projects for next, or I guess this very soon, our fiscal year that will start October 1st. So again, welcome. We spoke with Andrew Kraft. His information is here. This is my information. For those of you who may or may not know, I will be the contact for now for the Arts and Education Grant. We've had some folks leave or shuffling around in the Arts Council, shuffling roles. So Arts and Education Grant. It's really there for the arts to connect with artists and arts organizations with elementary, middle, and high school students. And we're here to strengthen the arts program, which is why Andrew is our contact. And Andrew is over the visual arts, the theater, music teachers, as well as dance. So art programs and projects that you should be looking to apply for need to fall within that curriculum. We have made an exception with literature because we view it as the arts. However, it really doesn't fall under Andrew's purview at the school system. But it's much easier if you have some kind of arts programming that connects with arts curriculum for us to then hand it over to the arts program managers, and then they have a system in placing it for you. That's why we work with it. It really is arts enrichment, not so much, it can be focused on arts integration, but it really doesn't, the focus is not for an arts program to go into a science classroom. And then if you're a first-time applicant, or if you know of anyone who's a first-time applicant, please have them reach out to me and I'm happy to walk through a particular project. Oh, I'm trying to go there. Timeline. So the deadline is going to be October 14th. That's a Thursday. If you could have those applications emailed to me by 5 o'clock. So it's right to my email address. We're very quickly, we already have the panel set up to review these applications the following week. And by the end of that following week, we hope to let you know how much, or if you've been awarded an arts and education grant. And the funding period for this is going to be November 1 through September 30th, 2022. So we're trying to have these align with the Arts Council's fiscal year, which has been different in years past. The arts and education grant that we had for our fiscal year 21, there was some flexibility built in with COVID. So those folks who have got a grant within the fiscal year 21 can apply for fiscal year 22. We're going to count this as a separate one, but you do have more maneuverability. So you could go in the end of this fall semester, spring semester. We're trying to shy away from summer arts programming. We're trying to have this impact the traditional school year. So if you don't have your program, if you're not able to do it then, you still have the beginning of the fall. And some programs, it makes just, it's a little bit easier with timing for them to go in there as well. So eligibility, again, it's only open to artists and arts and cultural organizations that have a nonprofit. It can't, so individual artists can also apply, and you will have to provide some kind of an EIN or a social security number. And we ask that folks, again, apply for only one arts and education grant per year. It's important, and I think most of you all know this already, that the artists and arts organizations be able to communicate within a school environment to children and to teachers and to work with administration. So it's not just about providing the program, it's also about, are we being a good, good partners coming in, making this process as easy as we can, because they really are making space within their days and curriculum that they already have set. Again, so we're here to enhance and share what we do with the arts program. And again, schools are not eligible to apply. If you are interested in working with a private or a charter school, you can include that in your grant application. A small amount of these funds can go to private and charter schools, but the majority of them will go to the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Public Schools. So allowable expenses, you can include your administrative expenses, your programmatic expenses, artistic expenses, materials and supplies. You can include transportation. We'll talk about that. In the past years, we really shied away from projects or programs taking students off campus unless there's a special exception. So it's not 100% out, but I'm sure you all heard there's a huge bus driver shortage, and there are additional costs involved in doing all of that. And it also takes time out of folks' schedules, especially the teachers and the students. So there's some transportation that takes place, but a majority of these probably should not. Yeah. Oh, and then the last one is arts and education grants cannot be used for scholarships. So you should not be using those to award prizes or anything for students or teachers. Evaluation criteria has stayed the same. You know, we're looking at these projects to make sure that they're feasible, to make sure that they do connect with the curriculum, that they have good artistic and program merit. Can the project be completed within a certain time frame? Again, if you've gone into the school system, are you able to communicate successfully within an educational environment? And we've had folks that have not been able to do that in the past, and it just wasn't a good fit. So we are open, and in the past we have done some pilot programs to see if things work, and sometimes they work and they're continued successes, and sometimes they're not. And we just have to, reshape those and retool projects to other areas. So your responsibility as grantees, if you were to receive a grant, is that we do ask you to collect some kind of feedback, and it could be as simple as an email to teachers or administrators that you worked with just to get some feedback that you can put in your final report. We will ask you to collect demographic information. So if you went to a specific school, asking them what the demographics of their school look like, and all of these, the teachers and administrators have access to this information. And some of it, if you're doing an assembly performance, it's on their website. It should still be there. It's usually been there in years past. We ask if you're able to credit. It takes a lot of partners to put all this together. So it's the Arts Council, it's the school system, it's the North Carolina Arts Council, and our huge sponsor and champion has been Wells Fargo for the past few years, and they're still supporting us. If there's any unspent funds, we ask that those be returned by the end of the grant period, so by September 30th, 2022. And I would say if there's any change in the projects or programs, we're flexible to that. You know, if something's not working out and it needs to be retooled between you and the school system, we can do that because we want these to be good projects, and sometimes changes need to be made when you go in. And I think that's pretty much it. So just past projects, and you all are aware, one-time workshops that can be fit within a class period, master classes. So in all disciplines, right? So visual arts, music, theater, drama. We've had author and art talks as well. So it could be from a presentation style, or it can actually be bringing in an author or an artist to engage with the class. Assembly performances, and we'll talk with Andrew and get a little clarification on what school's looking like in these current times. Artist residencies, so you could go in and work with a particular school for X number of days, and we would want to see what that looks like. Again, we're trying to figure out how much time these projects are going to require to go into certain classes. And one-on-one clinics. So we've had a number of one-on-one clinics, particularly with individual artists who are musicians. So brass clinics. We've had strings clinics in the past. For those of you who know the music teachers, they might be proficient in one particular area, but some of them are teaching all of the sections. So sometimes it's kind of nice to be able to bring in somebody who is an expert in one of those areas, whether it's trumpet or violin or viola. So that's definitely something you can ask Andrew about if he's looking for that. We typically do not like to have the same kind of programs going in. So we're looking for unique programs that are packaged and also able to rotate. So many of you know we've had assembly performances for K through 5, and sometimes we'll put those on rotation. So they'll go to 5 schools one year, 5 schools the next year, and on until they can matriculate through all of the elementary schools. So there kind of is a rhyme and a reason for how many programs we might select in this process. So here it should, well, all I've done is copied the questions to let you know we're asking more information about a specific program that you're offering, you know, what grade levels, what's the timeline, what were the kids going to be doing in the program, what are the goals and your particular outcomes for it, how does it align with you as an individual artist or you as an arts organization? How's it furthering your mission? Again, connect the particular program, or if you have multiple programs, you can connect, you know, separate those out in A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, and connect those to the core curriculum. And you can just copy and paste from the core curriculum as well. You don't need to expand on what that is. And again, if any of your project has transportation, just state it so we're aware of that. Support materials, asking you to include a resume. If you have other folks that are participating, if you're an organization and you're having a variety of artists participating, we would love to know who those artists are. A brief statement of them, or at least location of where they are. We're just trying to get a sense really of who's going to be participating in the program. And then you can have up to 4 additional support materials that you can include, whether they be past emails or feedback, marketing materials, or if you have any links, if you have examples of your performances, we'd be happy to look at that. But just limit it to 4 because just when we're reviewing applications, I just can't ensure that they're going to have time. All of the panelists will have time to review all of these support documents. Budget, really in budget, we're asking you to, what is the individual cost of this program? So the workshop, if the workshop costs $200, but you want to do 10 of these, so 100 times 10, and we would really like to see it broken out. So we know how many of what these cost individually per school, and how many you're looking to do or you're able to do over that about a year period, and then the total too. And that really helps us again if we're looking at our total budget and we know we want to do a few of these and a few of those, and we're able to easily cobble this together. And so we don't have to kind of go in and kind of piece the program together. So again, if you could list your cost per program. So tell us what that one artist residency is going to cost you to do in one school, or that one workshop, or that one assembly performance. And if you want to do 5 of them, just multiply each of them out, and then we'll understand you're asking for, $10,000, but we'll understand how it can be broken down. Let us know if partial funding is okay. It's okay if it is, and it's okay if it isn't. We understand. And then if you're pursuing other funding sources, some folks have for their projects, some folks who have very large projects are definitely needing to secure other resources. And then any kind of itemized budget, you could include that as well per program. So per residency, per workshop, per assembly performance. Questions? Anybody have any questions? If not, I have some for you.
I was about to say, it might just be easier if I just start and kind of give some visual idea of what our school system looks like at the moment. So,
be great.
So right now, we are in person, all students every day. So I would aim to look for that, to look for what it would look like as an in-person performance or as an in-person visit. And what you could do in your description is talk about what a virtual option would look like. And let me tell you why that is. Number one, we do have a virtual school. So if you were to go to 3 high schools in the virtual academy, well, you might want to just say, this could be done on Zoom. So you could put that. But as of right now, we are moving full force we are in person. We are having in-person performances. Bands are having concerts. Orchestras are having concerts. We are not spacing in auditoriums because we're requiring masks, which, by the way, we are currently requiring masks in schools, and we will continue to for the foreseeable future. But it's looking more normal-ish than, say, a year or 2 ago. So that's kind of where we are. And that's where I kind of predict we're going to be for the rest of this year. So hopefully that helps, just to kind of help you gauge as you think about this. But again, if you can think about in-person and virtual, if the virtual academy is a place that you're wanting to do one of your sessions. So that's just something to think about, maybe a suggestion I would have for you. Any other questions?
And virtual academy is K through 12.
Virtual academy is K through, well, it's K through 12. They do have arts classes, visual arts, general music, band, and chorus. Those are the arts classes that are offered at the virtual academy.
I have a question. I'm Sherry Rayford from Shared Radiance, and we do a 3-person Shakespeare review that takes about 45 minutes. If we want, so that we don't have to wear a mask, if we want to move that outside to a stadium or something, is that an option?
Yes, outside is also an option. Just with outside, once you take the mask off, you do have to take into you have to consider spacing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the trade-off with outside versus inside.
Okay.
Yes.
I've got a question. This is Tim Storhoff, the Winston-Salem Symphony. Normally when we apply for this, it's sort of been our big Mary Starling concert, and we're able to say, we're going to do this piece and this piece and this piece. Right now, a lot of that stuff is sort of in flux. But I think the goals will remain the same. The goals is still to get kids interested in signing up for music when they go to middle school. Will it be all right to just sort of have to write the application a little bit more generally this time around? Because I know Rachel and Andrew, you all are still sort of in conversation about how to move forward with that concert and some of those programs.
Yeah, I think I think general would be fine. I mean, we know that things are changing rapidly right now, but I think if we can get a general idea of the program, that should be okay.
So that leads me to another question. Do we have to wear a mask on stage if we're 20 feet away from the audience, if we're inside? Since, I mean, we're talking about playing musical instruments, so.
If you're in a school building, you have to wear a mask, yes.
Okay, okay. Makes sense, thank you.
Dara, if I could ask,
Yes.
with the shift of the cycle in terms of lining it up with the Arts Council fiscal calendar, do we know, number one, when is the final report for this grant due? And then when is the final report for the one that we're just wrapping up due?
Yeah. So final report, at least for this one, will be due after. And you can turn it in at any time during the grant period as soon as your project's over. And we'll get that other final grant report out to you just again as soon as you're done. And I know there were some exceptions made with timing if it couldn't get done by the end of last school year. But we'll get those out and you can just turn that in.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Any other questions for Andrew while we've got him? Andrew, is there anything in particular you're looking for? You've heard any needs or interests from various art teachers about?
You know, I haven't. Our big thing this year, just in the school system in general, is just to recover from the learning loss of the past couple years, and good projects. You know, that's great experiences. I think that's what we're after. You know, because especially with the performing art, you know, we were very fortunate that visual arts translated pretty well during COVID over remote learning, but you know, our performing arts, they're just behind where they normally are, and any great ideas would be, you know, classroom visits. We're excited about that, and I know some of the folks from the previous fiscal year, as they wrap theirs up, I know they're getting theirs done. But you know, that's what we're wanting our kids to have great experiences since they're back in school.
So for the virtual programming, I know there's some virtual programming being offered in terms of performances. How is that a secure link in terms of how are we going to ensure that, you know, it doesn't get into other hands?
The Virtual Academy operates through Microsoft Teams through our school system. So that communication would have to be done with that teacher so they could send a secure link.
Okay. And I'm sure we've got performances that are also password. I don't know if Tim, I think you guys have done a number of virtual programming. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with stuff we did last year for the schools, we sort of just provided the link directly, and I think teachers were able to distribute that. That's sort of the way that worked.
All right. If there are no more questions, we're going to let everybody go so they can finish their lunch. For those of you who might be off camera.
Thank
Will we get records emailed out?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jean. I'm not. You broke up a little bit there.
Will we be getting the recording you're making now through email?
Yeah, we're going to post this recording to the Arts Council website on the Arts and Education Grant webpage. Yeah. So feel free to refer back to it or share it with folks.
Great. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Jean. All right. Well, everyone have a good rest of their day. I know it was a short one, and most of you are well familiar with this program because you've been doing it for many years. So we look forward to seeing your applications and getting in touch with you soon. So thanks again.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.